2020 hopeful Bernie Sanders may be a millionaire, but that doesn't stop the Democratic socialists from embracing policy proposals that rely on spending other people's money.
We should not be the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right.
We should raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour.
Large, profitable corporations like Amazon will pay their fair share of taxes.
Well, this week, Sanders plans to defend democratic socialism in a speech at George Washington University. But is this really the right strategy? Here to debate is Democratic strategist Kevin Walling and Republican strategist Holly Turner. Thank you both for being here.
Hey, Jed, good morning.
Good morning to you. Kevin, I want to start with you. Is this smart for him to be out there talking about democratic socialism?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm a big believer in Ronald Reagan's first commandment to speak no ill of a fellow Republican. So I'm not going to really attack Senator Sanders on this point, but I think he's actually taking a playbook out of Donald Trump's play in terms of focusing on his base, right? He's stuck at 20% in state nationwide polls and in early states, and he's making the calculation that he needs to double down on this base support, talking about issues like Medicare for all and a $15 minimum wage to grow that base so he can get to 30 and hopefully take a first showing in Iowa and New Hampshire.
Holly, I actually think this is an enormous gift to President Trump because many are concerned that the moderate Democrats out there, the voters, feel like they have lost their party. They feel like no one is speaking to them. And the more you're out there as a Democrat talking about democratic socialism, talking about Medicare for all, talking about the Green New Deal, the less those voters and those independent voters feel like you're speaking to them. I think this is a huge gift to Republicans.
The Democratic Party of our grandparents does not exist anymore, and that's what we're seeing right now in this primary. I think Bernie Sanders is trying to focus on just getting out of the primary right now, and it certainly may help him, as Kevin said, to speak to the base, but he's going to have to answer for that during the general election. So if he does make it out of the primary and defeats Biden, and the thing about Bernie's rhetoric that is just, it's a lie. I mean, he's trying to compare his solutions, his socialism that he wants to bring to America to what's happening in Sweden. But what he doesn't talk about is that Sweden doesn't have a minimum wage. The extremely high tax rates that are in Sweden to be able to pay for their socialist state. And that's not just the top earners that pay that. Everybody in Sweden pays a very high, I'm talking 50 or 60% tax rate. Yeah. So he's not selling the truth to these voters, and they're going to be very disappointed by that whenever he has to answer for it in the general election.
Kevin, I want to play some sound for you of John Hickenlooper, who got booed when he was saying that socialism was not the answer recently when speaking to a group of Democrats. Take a listen. I want to get your reaction.
If we want to beat Donald Trump and achieve big progressive goals, socialism is not the answer. I was reelected.
Now, this, of course, is in San Francisco. This is a hub of liberalism. But, you know, why is this guy getting booed for saying that? What happened to the Democratic Party that we all remember? Is it now that the mainstream of the Democratic Party is advocating for democratic socialism? And is that wise?
Yeah, Jed, it's a good question. You know, as you rightly point out, I think it was a conference in San Francisco with the Democratic Party there. So It was really a lot of activists that are fired up on these issues, and I don't think are truly indicative of the Democratic primary electorate. You know, half of Democratic primary goers consider themselves to be either conservative Democrats or moderate Democrats. So I think that's why you're seeing Joe Biden being so successful. You know, he kind of had a tough week last week, but will bounce back and has that ally kind of way all to himself in terms of the moderate support among Democratic primary voters. But to Holly's point, I think she's absolutely right. You know, talking about these issues, if Bernie is the eventual nominee and campaigning on socialism really isn't going to be a winning issue, I think, for Democrats come November against Donald Trump.
Yeah. Holly, final thoughts on how President Trump should respond to Democrats talking about these far left policies, whether it be the Green New Deal or Medicare for all or democratic socialism. What is his best approach?
Well, I mean, what he does best, which is just to point to the absolute insanity and just hypocrisy that comes with these ideas. I love his nicknames. I think it resonates well with our base, and I think he's not going to have to work too hard to fight back against that because, look, Americans want to work hard for their paycheck. They want to earn their way through this country, and they're going to reject socialism when it comes to November in 2020.
Yeah, I think we're faced again with what should should the role of government be here, to you both? Is big government the answer? Is it not? I want to thank you both for being here. And I guess we're going to see. Joe Biden's been in a bit of trouble lately, so I guess we're going to see if Bernie Sanders can catch him a little bit. But thank you both for your take. Really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Have a good weekend.
Absolutely.